Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us at Space Cowboy Books Online this evening. I'm your host, Jean-Paul Garnier, and tonight we are here for another Flash Science Fiction Night. We're going to have stories from Marie Vibbert, F.J. Bergmann, and A.C. Wise. We're going to start off the program with Marie Vibbert. Hugo and Nebula nominated author Marie Vibbert's short fiction has appeared in top magazines like Nature, Analog, and Clark's World, and has been translated into Czech, Chinese, and Vietnamese. Her debut novel, Galactic Hellcats, was longlisted by the British Science Fiction Award, and her work has been called Everything Science Fiction Should Be by Oxford Culture Review. She also writes poetry, comics, and computer games. By day, she is a computer programmer in Cleveland, Ohio. Tonight, she's going to be sharing a story with us called This is an Optimistic Science Fiction Story About the Future. Over to you, Marie.
Okay. You can tell that I was feeling very creative when I came up with this title. This is an optimistic science fiction story about the future. We all have jetpacks. I'm an old, overweight man with hairy legs, and I have a jetpack. No one judges, and the jetpacks don't care. They run on clean energy and smell like sesame seeds. The right-of-way laws are complicated. The danger of jetpack injuries results in a new type of helicopter parent, though some opt for drones that follow their kids around. That's tricky because most kids can hack and their parental drone. Sorry, I screwed up the sentence. That's tricky because most kids can hack their parental drones and send them chasing butterflies instead. My children are butterflies, flitting through the sky in jeweled colors. No one asks me if I'm babysitting or who the mother is. I tie ribbons of parachute silk to their ankles as they leave home so I can track their swerves against the cloudless sky. Weather control satellites reserve cloud cover and rain for between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. weekdays. It manages this as a polite afterthought while keeping the climate stable and cleaning up after messy humanity. The rainbows of color make every day feel like a pride parade. In the future, we have perfected gaydar. Dating is much simpler. You can gauge a potential date's interest by pointing your gaydar at his jetpack or his six-pack, whatever grabs your attention. And no one cares that I'm gay. Politicians and even sports stars can be gay and admit it and be accepted. Fear comes from ignorance and shame, and we have working gaydar. Everyone is free to dress femme or butch or a mixture of the two because there's no need to throw subtle or blatant signals. There is, in fact, no downside to working gaydar. Well, it can't fix bad taste. Fashion these days is too revealing and unappealing to me, though I always thought that I would never say things like, today's fashion is too revealing and unappealing. I don't mean the parachute silk ribbons, of course. Everyone loves those, and they should. Fluttery ribbons find their way into non-jetpack wear. Bicycle chains and roller skates tangle. Parents post signs that say, cool kids know that jetpack wear is for jetpacks only, but no one stops wearing ribbons to roller skate. The sidewalks are painted in intense blue so that the ribbon colors look best against it. The sidewalks are soft underfoot, spongy, and always clean. With controlled weather, I don't have to walk to work on a twisted landscape of frozen footprints all February. Or I wouldn't if I didn't take my jetpack. Why are jetpacks so important? I don't know. They're more important than flying cars, which are stuffy, enclosed, and not really that much better than regular cars when you think about it. To keep traffic simple, the cars only fly about 4 feet off the ground. But because since we don't need to maintain a surface for tires anymore, the roads are planted with flowers. Rain filters naturally into the soil, no oil slick puddles, refreshing green and color against the blue sidewalks. Hyacinths mean yield. Daisies mean no passing. Hibiscus marks construction zones where gardeners diligently put in a new line of jonquils to mark a soft shoulder. Because there are no roads, no flash floods, no oil spilling gas stations, the water treatment system is never overloaded. Urban streams smell sweet and ripple with slippery little fish. Maybe we don't have flying cars or jetpacks, but we do have the gaydar, and our children are grown in jars on your mantelpiece from gay mates of either gender, so no one questions 2 dads, 3 dads, no dads. No one asks what makes a family real. All families are real. In the future, we have heads-up displays that alert you when you're about to stomp through somebody's feelings like an untrained Labrador retriever. Confirmation bias is combated right in your search engine. Privileges are pointed out with a friendly pink border, possibly floral. We merge our lives like traffic, the politest, easiest traffic. You can customize your holographic buddy who lets you know when you're about to say something stupid, and he always lets you know before because he's been trained with thousands of hours of recorded you. He knows you better than yourself and will drop an agreed upon hint like Tangelo or that's racist, asshole. Because you never say unfeelingly stupid things, your chances are not blown with that gorgeous boy back in college. Because this is an optimistic story about the future, I don't mention war or poverty. Those are gone. Nothing goes extinct. We're all much more concerned with AI rights and if our jetpacks are sentient enough to count as pets. The drones certainly do. In the future, your drone falling in love with your child's jetpack will be a problem. There will be support groups and conflicting opinions, and maybe flame wars over whether to let them be or separate them. No, but there would be flame wars, except we don't have those anymore because our holograms stop us before we post anything vitriolic. The internet is very nice in the future. 15% more kittens and 10% fewer Nazis. 100% fewer Nazis. Because this is an optimistic story about the future, you're probably expecting some inner darkness, some hint that all is not well with this narrator, something more than still feeling angst over that boy. He had eyes like melted caramel. Perhaps the writer lost his father in a car accident, and that's why the flying cars are so idyllic, and the roads are covered in flowers like a veiled reference to the piles left at the accident site. Perhaps his mother hit on the wrong woman and was beaten brutally, and that's why the gaydar is such an important invention. But that's not true. It was the girl next door's mother. What are you hiding, hairy-legged man from the future? Perhaps the problems of the present are just so insurmountable that any future at all is asking a bit much. No, this is an optimistic story about the future. Even if the beautiful boy with the caramel eyes did marry that girl from organic chemistry, there will always be more beautiful boys, shining like butterflies and soaring through the skies. The end.
Thank you so much, Marie. Next up, we have F.J. Bergmann. F.J. Bergmann is the poetry editor of Mobius, the Journal of Social Change, and freelances as a copy editor and book designer. She lives in Wisconsin and fantasizes about tragedies on or near exoplanets. She was a Writers of the Future winner. Her work has appeared in Apex and Abyss, Analog, Asimov's SF, and elsewhere in the alphabet. While lacking academic literary qualifications, she is kind to those so encumbered. She used to work with horses. She thinks imagination can compensate for anything. And tonight she's going to be sharing a story with us titled For Your Convenience. Over to you, FJ.
For your convenience. I don't have all day, you know. Other people are waiting to use me. I'm very much in demand, the vending machine's speaker blared as it towered over Larry. The blinking of its red-lit buttons made it appear to be glowering, Larry thought. You make the selections revolve too fast for me to get a good look, he complained. And how do I know they'll fit? I can't even see a brand name. Please insert appropriate change or move aside as a courtesy to other customers. What other customers? I'm the only one here. Larry looked nervously into the impenetrable Stygian darkness outside the low barricade with its coin-operated turnstile. They'll be along, never fear. Everyone will be along soon enough. Its tone was insufferably smug. Larry swung a kick at it. Ow, 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 ow. He hopped in a small circle on his other foot, grimacing. I'm reinforced with depleted uranium. Ha ha, that'll teach you. Fine. Larry's shoulders sagged. He eyed the rotating compartments hungrily. H1, right? Men's briefs, 3-pack, size medium. He grabbed a fistful of worn O-balls from the pocket of his cutoffs, counting them carefully before dropping them into the slot. 17, 18. He punched the buttons. A few clicking sounds emanated from the bowels of the machine. Larry waited, tense with anticipation. Nothing happened. 10% damage surcharge. Larry's howl of outrage was wordless but vehement. You kicked me, remember? I bruise easily. Seething, Larry pulled out 2 more coins and dropped them in. Machine does not give change. All complaints must be filed with management within 10 days. What a surprise, Larry muttered. There was a thunk. The display revolved ponderously. A slithering sound, then a packet appeared in the dispenser opening. Larry grabbed it and ripped it open. Ah! The machine began looping a light, tinkling melody with the inane qualities of a perfect earworm. These are women's underpants! Bikini women's underpants! The tinkling stopped. They'll fit well enough. Soft, absorbent, pastel floral print. What could be finer? Larry spoke through gritted teeth. 2 years. 2 fucking years I've been collecting coins. And you just... And those O-balls, they just accidentally fell off a few dead eyes, did they? Charon got a hole in his pocket? The machine inquired coyly. The tinkling began again. Larry turned his back and shoved his fists into his pockets. The vending machine sighed heavily. What in Hades do you want underwear for, anyway? Larry slowly blushed scarlet, or at least a gloomy eggplant shade. It's my boyfriend. He has a fetish for tidy whities. There was a long pause. And you've ruined everything. He also has a fetish for fawns and centaurs. How am I going to compete with that? The advice vending machine is on the far side of the sticks. I need a refund, not advice. Either that or the briefs. Now. Machine does not give refunds. All complaints. Larry began shoving it, trying to rock it on its base, emitting infuriated grunts with each push. Do you want some help with that? An interested contralto voice said, just as he collapsed against the machine, panting. Larry whirled around. A large wolf stood just outside the enclosure. He began backing away slowly. Hi, I'm Lupa. This is the underwear vending machine, right? She trotted nonchalantly under the turnstile. Good luck with that, Larry muttered despondently. I'm Larry. His forehead wrinkled. Why does a wolf want underwear anyway? The wolf snorted. Use your eyes, boy. She had pendulous teats, 8 of them, hanging halfway to her knees, or whatever those joints were called on wolves. Larry scratched his jaw. Yes, I can see where you might want to. His voice trailed off uncertainly. She turned to face the machine. What do you have in high-impact sports, Braziers? The machine looked complacent. Please insert appropriate change and make selection. She gazed at the rapidly spinning display for a moment and turned to Larry. Where does the speed adjust? He shrugged and she turned back, looking the machine over carefully. Plastic buttons are hard for me to maneuver with my teeth and claws, and I just don't know my own strength. When I tried to get directions to a friend's residence on the plain of jars from your fellow dispenser of advice, I ended up shattering most of its array, I'm afraid. And replacement parts are so hard to get down here. She sat on her haunches and yawned, showing long yellowish fangs. The machine's display rotation slowed visibly, but it made an attempt at bluster. Our bras are standard human, 2 cups each, no custom anything. She grinned, exposing her fangs again. Then I expect to get a volume discount. I'll take 4 28Bs, strapless, stretch cotton lycra. She tilted her head to one side and pricked her ears. Oh, and Romulus and Remus will be happy to lend a hand if there are any problems with your service. They're such good boys, so big and strong. And did I mention that Cerberus is a personal friend of mine? The vending machine sagged in defeat. Maintenance access around the back. Push the green oval buttons. The wolf rose to all 4 feet gracefully and trotted around behind it. Larry followed. You can press the buttons, she murmured. I wasn't kidding about the maneuverability part. The machine opened easily. Once Lupa had made her selections, nudged them into a pile, and picked them up in her mouth, Larry quickly found the briefs he wanted. He shoved the bikini panties back into a random vacant slot and slammed the maintenance hatch closed. I have nothing to say to you, the machine said haughtily. Its lights blinked in a frenetic random pattern and went out. The wolf winked at him and loped off, leaping the enclosure wall in one bound. After a while, he heard distant howling. It sounded oddly joyous.
Thank you, FJ. Next up, we have A.C. Wise. A.C. Wise is the author of the novels Wendy Darling and Hooked, and her most recent short story collection is The Ghost Sequences. Her work has won the Sunburst Award and has been a finalist for the Nebula, World Fantasy, Stoker, Locus, British Fantasy, Aurora, Shirley Jackson, Lambda Literary, and Ignite Awards. She also reviews short fiction. Tonight, she's going to be sharing a story with us called Eleanor's Stars. Over to you, AC.
Apologies in advance for the scratchy voice and any coughing fits that may occur. Eleanor lives in a haunted house. Doors slam in the middle of the night and the walls murmur with tight, angry voices. Her mother must hear the ghosts too, because she's always tired in the mornings. When Eleanor asks, though, her mother just tells her to go play outside. Eleanor has no friends where they live now, in the haunted house, and she isn't allowed to go farther than the garden, so playing outside isn't all that fun. She hasn't asked her father about the ghosts, but he must be scared to live in a haunted house because some nights he doesn't come home. Eleanor read all about ghosts at the library, including a book about another Eleanor who went to stay in a haunted house. Even though the book was on the grown-up shelves, nobody stopped her taking it to the reading corner with the big squishy chairs. She read while her mother used the library computer, even though they have a perfectly good computer at home. Maybe their computer is haunted too, and that's why her mother is scared to use it. Eleanor liked being in the library and reading about someone with her name, even if she didn't understand everything she read. And now she knows ghosts exist, because grown-up books are usually about something real. The night after the library, the ghosts come back, banging doors, scraping loud, heavy things across the floor. Eleanor couldn't sleep, so she snuck outside. She took the little flashlight shaped like a sheep from beside her bed. She ducked under the fence and into the tall grasses. She walked straight towards the big tree where she would still be able to see the house. Just a quick trip, and then she would go right back. 1 minute, the ground was solid. The next, her foot splashed in the water up to her ankle. She caught the long grass to keep from falling. She'd never seen the pond before. It didn't even really look like a pond, more like a scrap of night sky full of stars. The lights moved, sometimes like underwater fireflies, sometimes sharp and sparkly like the broken open rocks at the museum, and sometimes like hundreds of eyes watching her, waiting to see what she would do. In the book about the other Eleanor, there'd been a cup of stars. Thinking of that made Eleanor wonder what the stars would taste like. The stars in the pond jiggled, like they were nodding yes, it was a good idea. She didn't have a cup, so she dipped her hands into the water. At first, the stars didn't taste like anything. Then there was a green, muddy taste that made her want to spit the water out. All at once, the muddy taste changed, fizzy and tickling like pop rocks, zipping through her like a sugar high. "Hello," said the stars. Eleanor almost fell into the water again, but remembered to grab the grass. "Where are you?" she asked, even though she knew the voice was coming from the water, but also from her head. "Are you a ghost?" "I came from very far away." "Why do you think I'm a ghost?" "Because there are ghosts in my house," Eleanor said. She told the stars all about her haunted house, her parents, and the book that she sort of read. The stars twinkled like they were thinking, and then they asked, "Are you lonely?" "Sometimes, I guess." Eleanor hadn't really thought about it, but she was. "I get lonely too," the stars said, and now their twinkling looked sad. "No one could understand me until you drank the water. Would you like to be friends?" Eleanor thought about it, pretending that she was twinkling too. She'd already She'd already decided to ask her mother to take her back to the library so she could find a book about stars, but who knew when her mother would have time? Besides, the stars seemed nice, much nicer than ghosts, and no one else had asked to be her friend since they'd moved here. "Yes," she nodded firmly. Will you tell me what it's like being stars and where you came from?" "I'll show you." The stars sounded proud, their lights winking at her like eyes, but also like a smile. "I'd like that." She wasn't only saying it to be polite. Living in a haunted house could get boring. Summer was meant to be exciting and full of adventures, but mostly she tiptoed around so the ghosts wouldn't get mad, even though they didn't care if they bothered her. Do I drink more water?" she asked. The lights pulsed, thinking, and then brightened, a smile that showed many more teeth. "Maybe you could try going for a swim?" Her mother would be really mad if she found out Eleanor had gone beyond the fence and into the water. "Is it okay if I go in with my pajamas on?" Eleanor hesitated, stalling. "Of course." The stars blinked at her expectantly. They shifted, and now they looked like a slide going down a very long way. They looked a little bit scary, but also exciting, and it couldn't be as bad as living in a haunted house. Eleanor sat on the grass, letting her legs dangle. She expected the water to be cold, but it was warm like a bath. The stars swirled, nodding and encouraging, fizzing against her skin. So what if her mother got mad? She could just say sorry. She was good at sorry. Since they'd moved, she'd been saying it almost every day. Eleanor took a deep breath and pushed off. The pond was deeper than she expected, but it stayed warm, and after a while, she got up the courage to open her eyes. The stars really did look like eyes up close, and she couldn't help laughing, the air leaving her mouth in silvery bubbles. It didn't seem like she had to breathe, though. so maybe she wouldn't have to say sorry after all, and she could just stay in the pond with her stars forever. The lights swirled around her, nodding, and Eleanor grinned. The stars had such wonderful things to show her. She swam towards the bottom of the pond, even though she wasn't sure it had a bottom anymore. She couldn't wait to see. The end.
Thank you so much, AC. That was AC Wise with Eleanor's Stars. Before that, we heard F.J. Bergmann with For Your Convenience. And opening the show was Marie Vibbert with This is an Optimistic Science Fiction Story About the Future. Thank you all for sharing these lovely stories with us. Thank you to our audience. Our next Flash Science Fiction Night will be coming up on August 15th and will be a collaborative event with Fantasy Magazine. We'll have authors Sam Kyung-Yu, Moses Ose Utami, and Kelsey Yu reading. So be sure to join us for that. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.